Hello and welcome to the first edition of the No Punt Intended podcast. We'll get to the name later, but we'll get to know all the boys here in a second. We'll tell you what all this podcast is going to be about. There's a mix between NFL mostly from the beginning, but with the No Punt Intended, we've gone for more of a gambling thing as well, which we'll have segments about towards the end of the podcast. So it might be a mix of both, but NFL to begin and then some punting stuff at the end, but we'll get to the boys. We'll start with you, Ben, with the bed hair. How are you, mate? Tell the viewers a bit about yourself, what your history is, what fantasy sports you play, what you like to do. Give us a bit of background.
Yeah, so similar to you, I'm a big Tigers fan, so I've been into my Supercoach the last couple of years. I think Supercoach, my two best rankings were 2 times in the top 1,000, so I did pretty well in that. And then for other fantasy, I've done NBA, NFL. Last couple of years, I've got into it with you boys as well. First time doing SportsDeck, so it's a bit like Supercoach, so hopefully I'm not too bad. And then just generally any other things. So I've started FPL this year as well, but yeah, just getting into all my fantasy sports. So yeah, love sports, love watching it, so right into it.
Beautiful. And Bex, you're a very keen fantasy man, so...
Yeah, love my fantasy. I do pretty much everything. I've couple of top 200 finishes in Supercoach, 21st in SportsDeck a couple of years ago. Won the Eliminator in a whole bunch of different dynasty leagues for NFL, do FPL, and then I do a lot of F1 and golf as well, betting and watching, and do fantasy F1 as well. So a lot of different sports.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the basis of all of us while we're doing a podcast like this. Something that Scotty's been wanting to do for a while, and the boys. But Tom, how are you, mate? Let the audience know who do you support in the footy?
I'm a diehard North man. It's been pretty tough for the last 27 years of my life. But in terms of different to Scotty and Bex, like, look, I'm into fantasy, but I'm not like a diehard. Like, I couldn't care less. Like most of the time. So anyone who's going to listen to any of my advice, I'd be wary. But last year in SportsDeck finished, I think I finished 34th or no 60th. So actually did all right there somehow. Definitely more on the punting side for me. So definitely have a bet, and that's where NFL definitely is one of the best sports to punt on. So very, very much keen to get into that side of it.
Yeah, that's definitely where you will come in. We've got a big segment for you at the end. Danny D. De Silva, mate, how are you?
O'Brien, my fellow Giants fan. Yeah,
yes.
Good mate.
Yeah, that's us, unfortunately.
Yeah, Packers jumper on.
Yeah, look, unlike O'Brien, I don't like to announce that I am a Giants fan, but yes,
which you just did.
Go for the Giants, though.
You just did it. 1 minute.
And this is a good sale on Cotton On, by the way. So yeah. Just with my fantasy, I'm a bit more of a risk taker compared to the other boys. They're, get this guy and get that in. No, I want pods and pods only. If I see anyone value, I'm on it. But like Tom, I'm also probably an avid gambler, but that's for sure. Me and Tom would love to live in a casino if that was possible, but unfortunately not yet. But keen to get started.
Avid's one way to describe it. Others might describe it problematic, but
potato. You only live once.
That's a good way of putting it. I'll quickly go through what we're going to get to. There's quite a bit for tonight, and we've left it a bit late, so we'll try and get through it all. But in future weeks, it'll be more, more concise. But we're going to do SD teams. So as you said, a couple of us have played it before. Scotty's sort of doing it first time this year. We'll go through that, talk through a few picks there. Won't spend a heap of time on that. I did make a video of my team yesterday, and I'll probably make videos throughout the season for that. Then we'll get to our GOATS League. We call it our actual redraft league for fantasy. We did draft that actually on stream the other day as well. If you want to check that out, go through our rosters. Scotty's playing Tom this week, so we'll get to that, see how that matchup looks.
Battle of the Bozos.
And that's pretty much a fantasy side. Then we're going to go straight to some betting stuff pretty much and talk about that for the rest, because we are big on our futures. sort of when I started becoming mates with Tom and Dan. That's the big bets that they love is the futures. And honestly, I'm all over it too. Like you can bet week to week, and we will be doing that, mind you. But I do love the futures. We've all hit a few good features in our time. So
before you met us, O'Brien, you were quite a small gambler. Now the stakes.
Yeah, I can blame you for for ticking it up a notch. And I'm not a good gambler either, so it's probably been bad. We'll do, as I said, futures. Then do our weekly picks. As I said, there's a couple of segments I won't give away yet. And then we're just going to do our picks, like 3 picks a week, and go our records over the year and see who can come out on top at the end of it. But I guess that leaves us into the first thing, which is the SportsDeck team. So we'll get over that. I've just got my team up, which should be here in a second. So this is my team, if you can kind of see it. We'll just talk about the QBs first. I think the main one is that everyone's going to have Lance as their QB2. I mean, not everyone. Some people might pay up, but Mariota on the bench is a lock. Yep. It's the QB1. So we'll quickly go through who's got who at QB1. Scotty, who have you got there, mate?
I have got Herbert as well. So I think I've got the exact same as your one. I think the only thing I was deciding between was Herbert and Allen. I think they're the 2 most picked ones. I think I've decided to end up going with Herbert because I think it was $2 million cheaper. And I think he's picked less as well. So it's really a 50-50 call. Go to the less pick one, also the most value. So if you go Allen, I think it's a good pick as well. But I thought get more value for Herbert and then see how you go. So, but either one's pretty fine.
Who you got, Bex?
So as of this morning, I had Josh Allen, but I was looking at the fixtures and I've changed it to Herbert. The first 9-10 weeks, they've got an absolute cakewalk of a fixture, and then it really goes bad after that. So I've tried to load up on a few of the Chargers that have sort of got that good fixture, try and get the price rises early, and hopefully as others trade them in into the worst fixtures later on.
Yeah. Dan, you got
Lance and Mariota are locks.
See, unlike these boys who like to be the sheep to just copy everyone else, I've actually gone, let's ride Broncos country with Russ Wilson. He's 15 mil, and I think that saving that 4 mil has helped me spread across my team. I think he's got such a good situation there. The weapons are just as good as the Chargers. I think at 15 mil is an absolute steal, especially for that team. Their defense is really good. They'll be getting teams off the field a lot quicker, and Russ will just be flinging it to Cortland and Jerry all game long. So I've got Russ and Lance and Mariota as well, but no Herb for me.
Tom?
I've gone Herb and Allen, and I've got Lance on the bench. Stuff, and I'm going mega points. There's no way I'm trusting Trey Lance. Like I'm more than happy to have him on the bench and get a few extra mil some way there if he works, and if he doesn't, I'll trade him out. You just got to go the double QB. Otherwise, you're just overthinking it and getting too cute. So go on the 2 big dogs.
Just going bang.
Can't question him. He finished better than any of us last year. So obviously there'll be a few mil less somewhere else in your team, in the receivers probably.
Definitely in the receivers. So I've gone risky there.
Cool. Running back, I think we don't really need to speak too much about JT and CMC. I don't think anyone here is going against CMC. I know a few people might just because of the injury history, but you've got to go for it.
Yeah,
it's probably your third.
Yeah. Yeah, like when CMC's actually played, he's scored brilliantly even the last 2 years during his injury, so he's a lock.
Yep, for me, I've got Eckler as my third. I know that's going to cost a bit. You could have Saquon, you could have Dalvin Cook. We'll just go quickly through who you got. Scotty, have you got another running back, or you got some rookies?
I've gone big. So I've gone big Derrick Henry, the King Henry. So I spent the extra on him.
20 mil.
Which is a bit risky. He's about 20 mil. My theory is that when he is in, he will score well. The only worry is injuries. And if he does get injured, because he costs so much, I'll be able to trade down. But I think it's a good start. I think New York Giants, you and Dan's boys, I think you should smash them.
Our defense is good.
It is a bit of a risky one, but I think, his average last year was good. I think he only played, was it 8 games last year? It wasn't much.
That's it.
Yeah, half a season. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's really just staying healthy for him. But if he doesn't turn healthy, I can always trade him off. But I think he starts off well, and then I can kind of decide from there. But Yeah, that's the thing. Because I think he's only 18% owned, so I think it's worth the risk. Could pay off, could burn me, but yeah, worth the risk.
You got third Bex.
Yeah, I had Cook with Allen as my 2 there for ages, but then swapped them both to the Chargers boys. So I've gone with Eckler here. I was just nagging the injuries with CMC and Cook combined, who just both have been missing so many games. And Eckler has the great fixtures coming up first 10 weeks or so. So I've gone that way. And then the same 3 cheap boys as you.
Yep. Dan?
Yeah, by the sounds of it, you've got Bex's team on the screen at the moment, Benno, because he's
pretty-
gone word for
pretty
word
much
exactly
does.
what
There's
you've got.
I think
Like I said,
there's 3 differences.
You're either the sheep or the shepherd, and I'd like to be the shepherd. So I've gone, instead of Eckler, I've gone Dalvin Cook. So I just think that, what is it, $4 million cheaper?
Yeah.
I just think, like, I know Eckler will probably get more receptions, but I think Dalvin's just a solid pick, especially with the Vikings' new offensive coach. I think they'll run a lot with him. So, and the rest is obviously the rookies, I think, are a lock. Etienne, Pearson, Hall. I think they just
Don't think we need to speak about them either. Tom, who's your? Do you have any different?
CMC never a chance in my team. That guy got injured in round round 2. I don't care how cheap he is. That's gone. Saquon Barkley the exact same. So never coming in my team. So I've got JT. I've gone Eckler as well. I think just having him and Herb, the 2 of them combo is going to be elite. And then I've got Travis, and then I've got Akers, Hall, and Pierce as the RBs there. So
Akers as your pod.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So Akers is the pod there. Like CMC, please.
Yeah, and that's essentially where the money
words.
difference is from the 2 primo QBs. You don't have
that's true. That's true.
Smart. Yeah, I mean, you put it in the right area. That's for sure.
Yep, Akers could pay off. Just obviously the Achilles off that. Who knows? Receivers. So, geez, there's a few here, and there's some contentious ones like Cooper Kupp being. What is he? Almost 20 mil. Like Derrick Henry is just too much. So I think most of us or all of us are fading him. Deebo Samuel as well. Is anyone here going him? I think Dan, you might have him.
I was thinking it, but I think I'll stick with no.
You're off.
I'm not going to go off it. I'm off it.
So Devontae is the first one we all have. Devontae.
Yeah, Devontae's in.
I do not have Devontae.
Okay.
Okay.
JJ.
JJ Lock.
Yeah.
Yes.
JJ Lock.
Yep.
Jamar.
Yes,
Nope.
I've got Jamar.
Okay. No one would have Tyreek. I wouldn't have thought.
No.
Everyone got Diggs at a bit of a discount.
Yep. Good value.
No.
Oh.
Jeez.
No, I've gone with the better wide receiver. I've gone with big
Gabriel
Davis, baby Davis.
Yeah. Big baby.
This is where the money has to take a hit. Where with the big 2 QBs.
My wide receiver 2 going into the Chargers theme is big Mikey Williams. So
I
really
want
him.
Money.
I really want him. I just can't fit in. I've got Pittman. So, any other left field ones, Scotty? Have you got most of them, or have you got any other weird ones?
There's probably 2. I'm not so sure. I've got the other 2 ones really have. We've got Robertson, same as you, which is a pretty popular pick ones. But the other 2, I'm not too sure how popular they picked. Is CD Lamb. I think with Cooper gone. I think with Gallup. The only real person I can see taking targets off him is maybe Dalton Schultz. I know they talked about Tolbert, the rookie, coming in, but he's really struggled. So I just see his target share being pretty big, and Jackson Gunn as well. The other one I went with, I had Sutton, but I kind of wanted to change it because I've got him in a couple of leagues anyway. I think I just drafted him in the draft we did the other night. So I changed it to Rashad bateman. I think, he's could break out to be a risky one. I think with Hollywood Brown gone, only really Andrews taking his targets could be decent. So they've got the Jets first round as well, so he could have a really good game to start off as well. So, I thought I'd go for a bit of a risk. I think it's a good price as well. So Rashad Bateman's one I got in.
Yeah, I can get around that pick. Yeah, I'm running CD as well, so I can back that one up, Scotty. I think CD is pretty good value. The only other one I can think of on my bench is Juju. He'll be wide receiver 1. You'd think for the Chiefs. Him and Kelsey will probably just run the offense, I think. And MT, I think, is probably.
I was going to say that's the next talking point.
Yeah,
there's
MT,
a lot of cheapies. There's a lot of cheapies. Drake London's highly owned.
Yeah, he could easily.
Juju, MT. I'd love probably to get Pickens up, but I've had to take a hit with cash there. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not too bad, though.
Who's
Yeah.
everyone picking there? Who's the two on the bench?
Yeah.
Scotty?
MT,
I've got,
MT and Juju.
I got my
Okay.
man
Got,
Wendell.
and,
I'm serious. I'm telling you. And
Wendell
we'll get
Robinson.
onto this later. We'll save that for later. But I got my man there. My man there. He's going to be wide receiver 1 at the Giants.
Jeez.
But anyway, leave
We're
it there.
Giants boys and we're not even fans, but Tom,
Right.
the big number 1 fan.
Yep.
Man's
I've got,
been doing
Juju?
too much
Is that
college
what-
analytics.
Is that
Yeah,
what you
MT
said,
Juju.
Bex? MT Juju?
Yeah, MT and Juju. I think they've got the biggest upside of all those guys. Rookies tend to start slow. I mean, we've seen with Chase and JJ the last few years the massive rookie seasons, but I think that's more like they're just a couple of
Yeah, they're
ridiculously good
outliers.
players. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
outliers. So I think most of the rookies, and a lot of them have either had minor injuries, like London missed a few weeks with the knee. A few of the others haven't really gotten much time with the ones in the preseason game. So I think a lot of those rookies start slow. MT's got the injury issues, but his upside's enormous if he's fit. And Juju just the targets. And he sort of left a bad taste in people's mouths, but his stats haven't been that bad the last few years. Like last year, he had the injury and left early, but other than that, it was not like the year before. He was okay. So very cheap. Patty Mahomes should do okay.
Yeah.
No worries. Tight ends, I think everyone's got Andrews and Kelsey besides Tom. So
Yeah, no.
Let us know,
I've
Tom.
gone with Waller and Goddard. So I think Waller is actually getting slept on here. I know that that Adams has come in, but like he was he would have been tight end 1. Was he nearly tight end
2
tight
years
end
ago,
2
maybe.
the year before? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's an absolute freak. So I'm pretty happy to go him. And then I just had no more money. I would have liked to have gone Andrews or Kelsey, but I had no money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big hit for the 2 QBs. It's it's showing
That's it,
elsewhere.
baby.
I think everyone's got the same, right? Everyone else?
It's the same main two.
Yep. Cool.
Yep.
Well, on the bench, I've got Bellinger, so he might get some work at some point. He's on the top of the depth chart, but how good it'll be, who knows? It's more just a bit of cover in case one of the other boys missed due to injury.
Yeah, I think it's fair. Like I've gone with Irv Smith there. I think it's
Same.
fairly important to have the decent cover. Just like 2 tight ends, you only got 1 bench. They tend to get injured occasionally. You'll have buys coming up relatively quickly, and I think he makes more money than the Bellinger and McBrides anyway, because I just think he gets much more work.
Yeah, I'd probably love to have Irv if I had another mill, but I don't. What do you got, Scotty? Bellinger or?
Yeah, I've got the Ballinger as well. So I was pretty short on cash. So I was looking at, I think there was a few other ones. I was close to Irving Smith from Vikings as well as on the bench. But I thought there's no point if he was on the bench as well. So I went Ballinger. Not too sure how it'll go. I know I had Evan Ingram last year at the Giants, and he wasn't great. But he probably can't do any worse than him. So hopefully just service.
By the way, did Scotty call him Irving? Did he
Yes,
call
he
him
did.
Irving?
I let it go. But I was ready. As soon as he was done, I was ready.
All right, we'll wrap this up. Kickers, Cade York. I think everyone's got him,
York.
and then Burgich on the bench, and then defense. I mean, I've gone up big with
You've
the
gone
Colts.
7 mil defense.
Yeah, look, I may change it, and if I want to get Pickens up to Juju or whatnot, but I think Colts their run's pretty cake, and they actually get the Jags and Houston first 2 weeks, and then I can swap it to the Chargers who have
I
the
saw
Jags
you
and
did
Houston week
Works
3,
like
week 4.
perfectly between those.
So,
yeah.
I'm thinking I'm being smart, but watch it not even work anyway. As bad as they have been.
Those two work together really well for the first half of the season. You probably have to trade one of them out around them because both of their fixtures end up being a lot harder second half.
But as you can see, like I have Pickens on the bench instead of Juju. That might cost me a few mil. Stuff like that.
I remember
Pittman.
last year you missed your mark, so who knows?
Who knows, mate? I'll miss something again. All right, let's move off that. Let's get to the good stuff. We'll get to our NFL fantasy league for this week. So first on the left, who we got? We got Bex. As I said, the stream we did, you can watch us actually go through and pick our team. But Bex is on the left here of the first matchup against Chiz. Talk us through it, Bex. Any sit-start decisions you're contemplating, or are you
not
pretty set?
really? I'm pretty happy with how my starting roster turned out from the draft. I think my wide receiver is a little bit weak because I've gone London and Wilson, 2 rookies who I think will start slow. So I'm more than happy to bench them, at least starting off with Kenneth Walker struggling early, had the hernia. I think Penny gets plenty of workload, so I'm very happy putting him on the field. The only question mark really is Chase Edmonds, just because he came up with a groin issue. So I'll be monitoring that over the next couple of days. Might take a flyer on Julio Jones or Mike Davis if
He's like
he
my
doesn't get
RB2
up.
in another league.
Yeah, I think he's going to get up. I think it was just like a limited practice, so it's got him at questionable. But I think he gets up. But not really considering fielding any of the other guys unless he misses.
If Dobbins doesn't play, big Mike Davis.
Like even like I think he would probably be my Chase Edmonds replacement, but I wouldn't have him straight over him
Over
if
anyone
Edmonds
else.
is fine.
Yeah. What's Chiz got? You think? What's the projections say? Pretty close, or
he's got Akers, who not keen on to start with. He's got Kittle, who might miss. Yeah,
Clyde.
got Clyde.
Kittle injured already? My word.
Yeah, he didn't practice at all. Clyde, who I've got no faith in. So I'm optimistic in this one. I know Chiz is a very good player, though. He's done really well the last couple of years. So
yeah,
but I am optimistic.
Cool. Who's next? That's Dan. I was trying to see the name. That's Dan against Big Jules, Big No Idea, who does well in the draft every year, but then forgets to set his lineup every week, and then he's still beating people sometimes without doing that. But Dan, any decisions you're making, mate?
The only annoying thing is Deontay is questionable, so I've put him on the bench at the moment. But if I had to swap, I'd obviously take out Devontae Parker, but that'll probably be one where I set the alarm for 3 a.m., have a look at the phone. If he's named, I'll just swap it over. You know, the things we do to win, the things we do to win the money, mate. That's what we want. So, other than that, I think my team is pretty set. Obviously, took a few risks on rookie wide receivers like Bex did, but just sort of bench. And same with, I guess, tight end, depends on Ertz, but I'm starting Irv Smith because he's actually got the green light, so he's all good to go. But in saying that, I am versing a really dangerous Julian Berthel at the moment, because first round Julian is probably the best Julian you're going to get all year round.
Yeah.
But his team's pretty good, actually. I'm quite surprised. Like he said, he drafts pretty well. The only one would probably be Fire and Moose at tight end, but the rest are actually pretty solid. His team's good. His team is actually really good. So I'd like to think
I saw you bloody pick up Trubisky. You've already got 3 QBs. I've got 2. I was looking at him and you've outbid me. Like, why you got 4 QBs, mate?
Okay. My logic behind that one was not to snipe you at all, but next time if you want a QB, you got to bump up the money, mate. $3 ain't going to get it done around here. The reason I did that was because both my QBs actually have the same buy. So just in case.
Looking at okay.
I'll have to sort of use that because, I don't want to field someone else in that other flex spot. So
Trubisky will be out by the buys anyway.
I'll be picking Kenny up, mate.
Well, we'll see. Always times for trade, Benno. Always times for trades, mate.
I'll let it go. I guess we'll speak about my team. I got Dak and Goff. So look, I went Dak early, faded it a bit hard, the old QB, until I was left with pretty much nothing. But I'm actually not too upset with Goff. I think he'll be throwing a lot.
Yeah,
they've improved a bit. The Lions, look, it's probably.
I reckon he'll be good this year.
Yeah,
I reckon
they've
upgraded
a lot of the weapons as well. So,
and look, like we said on the stream, Scotty won a championship with like Drew Lock and Trubisky, so it is possible. Eckler is like my main running back, and then I did actually sort of fade that position a bit as well.
What didn't you fade?
I know. I'm just fading everything. I just love receivers too much, so I went like Pittman and Higgins in like the 3rd and the 4th, I think. I love receivers too much. It's a bit of a sickness. So at least I've got Eckler as the main one in this league, who, if stays injury free, he should hold it down pretty well. Dalton Schultz, I don't mind at tight end.
Looks like you're all in on Pittman, mate.
Yeah, I am. I actually really am. So then I got the 2 Moores in the flex. So look, DJ Moore maybe a bit better with Baker, but not super confident. And then is Big Joe Flacco playing first week, Scotty?
Yeah, he's named.
He is.
Yeah.
Look, Elijah Moore might.
Revenge.
So hopefully do me well. And then again, the Colts defense, I've been all over that. So hopefully they do me well as well. I guess we'll get the last one. This is the big
Battle
matchup.
of the Titans.
Tom versus Scotty, week 1. Got go to you first, Tom. How'd you rate your draft in the end? A bit of Bills Mafia.
Look, yesterday I was actually setting my lineup. I'm like, I actually don't think I have enough players to field here. Like, getting Hopkins, who's injured, and then I just have a bunch of scrubs, and drafting Henry Ruggs was probably a mistake as well. Like, considering he's not going to play or probably ever step foot on free earth again. So, pretty much my season is pretty much predicated on the Bills being good. So that's not a bad thing.
Not the worst thing.
JA, Diggs, Fort Knox, and then their defense. And then I'm taking the bank on, and we'll talk about it later in the betting side, that I reckon the Jags might be sneaky good. So I've gone the stack with T-Law and Trav. Look, Dobbins being my RB2, and he might not even play week 1, gets me scared, and I'm having to field Cordell Patterson, who's probably washed. So look, lucky for me though, I'm versing Scotty week 1, which is usually a bye. So I'm feeling pretty confident for week 1.
What do you say to that, Scotty?
I will say I'll definitely be rooting for the Rams tomorrow. I hope Aaron Donald just splits Josh Allen in 2. I'll be very happy. But it was a bit of a mixed one. I thought it was some parts were good, some of the things. As you can probably tell, wasn't particularly happy with my running backs.
Talk me through it.
Elephant in the room.
Talk me through it.
Giving Dan crap in the past, so I don't really like him, but I ended up having to pick him. But the rest of some of the things I don't mind. I think Hurts can maybe take a step this year. I think he should be decent. Cup should be decent. I'm not sure if I should have gone him, but it is what it is. Sutton should be decent with Russ back there. Mark Andrews I actually think would be really good. Thomas is a bit of a risk. Woods is a bit of a risk. So I've taken a few risks there. But yeah, overall, yeah, it's a risk.
So overall, your team sucks.
Yeah.
It's just like before, like with this type of fantasy, it can be good ones when you can pick up people early. I know last year it was Elijah Mitchell went off the first ping. Some people got him. Got a few of his scores early. So there can be things. Even when I won 2 years ago, and Dak went down, you can pick up people early.
No one
so
asked.
I think you'll
slide that one in.
If you get with your flexes, it can be a bit more flexible if you take a few more risks with them. So I think it should be looking all right. But yeah, I think it will be all down to tomorrow's game, really.
Yeah, pretty much. Seeing as I've got 4 of them, so let's go Bills.
Let's go Bills.
All right, we got the futures for the next segment, so let's get into that. Now, I made the table a day or 2 ago, and I got the boys to fill it in. And we've got the AFC futures I've put out there first, and I think Tom put his in last. He was filling the table in last, and he's sort of looking at all of us just with all the chalk picks we were going. And the man thought, you know what, like, I'm actually going to take a bit of more thought here, bit of risk, bit of value, and he's pretty much picked against us. But the Bills across the board, I mean, I don't think we really need to speak about that too much. Yeah. We all think they're going to win that division. I think Tom said maybe he likes the Dolphins a bit, like if they come just on a bit,
but not really. Yeah,
like you haven't seen it yet, so it's a bit hard. 3 of us like the Ravens, so I think what's the consensus there for us 3 is it just we think they can bounce back. Tom, what do you say with the Ravens?
So when we get to our futures later on, you'll see I'm pretty keen on the Ravens. I reckon last year had pretty tough injury luck. That division isn't even that good. Pittsburgh in a suck. Browns don't have a QB for half the season. And Bengals, they only won 2 more games than the Ravens last year. Yes, okay, they made the Super Bowl, but, that's what this sport's like. You can get on a bit of a run. So I reckon the Ravens can have a turnaround year. Lamar back to his MVP form. They drafted pretty well also, so I'm pretty keen on the Ravens this year.
Yep. They're actually the favourites, so they're 237 and the Bengals are 260. Dan or Bex, where are you guys going, the Bengals?
I love the Bengals this year. I think because Joe got injured his first year, it really sort of set him back a little bit, and second half of last year, he started to not develop, but just sort of feel comfortable. And they got in that massive role, and they only really had one weakness, and that was Joe getting sacked because their offensive line was terrible. And they've fixed that. They've got a massive upgrade to their offensive line. I think they've got basically no weaknesses. I'm massively high on them. I think they're the second best team in the league behind the Bills.
Bang.
Jesus.
Dan, I mean, I guess you'd agree with all that.
I don't know about second best team in the league, but I do agree that the problem they had was obviously their offensive line, and they sorted that one out. So I'm 100% agreeing on that. And if he's making the Super Bowl, that's probably one of the most sacked QBs last year.
Yeah.
Mate, if he's got protection, I mean, he's still got his running mate Jamar, and that receiving core is still so good with T, and Tyler Boyd very underrated. I think that team is keen to go again.
Yeah, Boyd's a nice third wide receiver to have on your team.
Yeah.
That is just a handy third receiver.
All right, I see that Jaguar sticking out, Tom. Sell it to us.
Talk us
Well,
through it.
essentially, okay, the Colts get Matty Ryan. Well, who cares? If you were to compare Trevor Lawrence and Matt Ryan, it's not even close, okay? So that alone is a win. So I'm always going to back in the better QB. Last year was an absolute train wreck of a season. Trav went out. Their coach was an absolute joke. So that's been sorted. They've drafted well. $8 is really what they're paying, and that's what I'm looking at is a bit of value there. Colts at $1, whatever, 80 odd. There's no way I'm touching that. And then the Texans are there as well. So you've got some easy wins on the board there. I'm not saying it's a lock, but I'm saying it's pretty close to a lock. So definitely think the Jags this year are going to come out strong. And if you want to get on that $8 odds, that is something to get on.
Yeah. No, it's good value. Titans 280. Is anyone ever going to touch that? No.
No.
No way. No
So
way.
I do
No
like
way.
it as probably my second pick, but I still think the Colts probably get it done, as most of us believe. The AFC West. Now, this really is a shit show. No other way to put it. Probably all four teams are good enough to make the playoffs, but they're probably along the way they're going to one or maybe two won't just because they'll all play each other twice. So I've gone with the
Can we
Broncos.
start with Dan quickly, just because
okay,
he
let's
said
go to
what he wanted because he wanted Russ because he thought Russ had the best thing and that's why he didn't go Herb, but then he's gone Herb is the Chargers going to win here. So can you just explain your logic behind why you chose
absolutely,
one
Tom.
and one
I'm
thing
glad
and
you
one
brought that
here?
up,
Are you
Tom.
hedging your bets or what?
Here we go.
I'm not hedging anything. I'm riding with the Broncos country in SportsDeck, but with money on the line, I'm going with the Chargers. It's a completely different story. I just think the Chargers are they sorted out their defense, getting Khalil, Joey Bosa, JC Jackson. They're solid as it could come. I honestly, this one's a roll of the dice. Like Benno said, anyone could win it. No one's picked the Raiders. Raiders could easily win it. So I just think anyone could win this one. I just think the Chargers, because I just like Justin Herbert in that team.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to pick the Chargers, but I went with the Broncos. I know Bex has said it for years that they're only ever a QB away from being a real Super Bowl contender, and I won't spoil later on, but I've got them winning this division. I obviously don't think it'll be by much. They can obviously all these teams beat each other on a given day, so I just think Russ comes in, already got good weapons. The defense has been good already for a while. He comes in and just makes that team, what they've wanted to be for the last few years. They've just had to deal with a bit of Drewy Lock and Teddy Bridgewater.
Are we sure he's still any good?
Look, it might have fallen off a little bit, but it's still good enough. And with Russ there, I think to get it done. But look, like I said, I could easily pick the Chargers, easily pick the Chiefs. So I guess we'll get to the Chiefs, the two boys who picked the Chiefs, and why they picked them, because I think it's becoming a bit unpopular now to pick the Chiefs. They're still favourites for. I think they're favourites for this divisional. Yeah, they are. They're still third favourite for the Super Bowl, but picking them, everyone's sort of always raised an eyebrow. So, Scotty, why have you picked the Chiefs, mate?
I'll probably go. We'll probably relate to my player award later on, but I just feel like it's going to be a massive season from Patty Mahomes. I think he might be hearing stuff around that Tyreek's gone, they're going to be no good anymore, that type of stuff. I also think their signings actually be decent. I think Juju's decent. I think MBS is decent as well. You think about the outside of Hill for the last couple of years has been McCall and a couple of others, and they're just average. I just think, I think he's the best quarterback in the league. I think if you look on it, you see he's the best thing. So it's pretty tight. I also talked about the other day how I like the Broncos as well. So it's probably the tightest division. It's really who do you like out of Chargers, Broncos, and Kansas City. But then, yes, between the quarterbacks is tight. But I think I'm just going to go with the best quarterback. And I think he's got something to prove this season. So I think we'll actually exceed expectations. I think they'll actually do fantastically.
That's the expert advice that you get on the no punt intended. It's either one of the Broncos, Chargers, or Chiefs. So that's some of the expert analysis that everyone's going to get week
And I
in,
want to
week out
say,
from
if you're
Scotty.
claiming MVS is a good get,
Yeah, no,
yeah, mate, that's got to be one of the worst calls.
going from Tyreek Hill down.
How do you mop that up, Beck?
Aaron Rodgers doesn't even like him.
Come on, Bex,
How
help
you
him
mop
out
that
here.
up?
No, I'm not going to help Scotty at all. This was the hardest division to pick by a mile. I could make easy arguments for Chargers and Broncos. I just can't go against Paddy though. He's really good. I feel like they've taken a step back from last year. Like them and the Bills were sort of neck and neck last year, and I think the Bills have taken a step forward and the Chiefs have taken a step back since then, just in the rest of the personnel. But yeah, I mean this could easily be all three of them 10, 11 wins each in an absolute toss up. But I'm sticking with Paddy until he loses the division, because he's been pretty good so far.
Yeah, that's definitely one way to put it. All right, NFC. Again, pretty much all of us have picked the Eagles except for Tom. So I actually was close on this one as well. I think this is a 2-horse race in this division, but I just went for the Eagles in the end. Tom, why have you gone the Cowboys?
No, I'm curious to see why you boys are going the Eagles. I'll go after you.
All right, boys. Who wants to go?
You go to us.
For me, I just think Jalen Hurts, it's pretty much all on him. So he plays well. He comes on and actually shows he's a good QB. I think Philly win it. Not quite comfortably, but I just think they do. If he's not that good and he doesn't look like he's an NFL quarterback, I can see them falling off obviously pretty easily. But I'm riding on him essentially.
So that's exactly my thing. Is I'm riding against him. I don't
Correct.
think he's I don't think he's a quarterback. I need my quarterback to be able to throw the ball. So yeah, okay, he can run and do that. But end of the day, as much as the Cowboys' offensive line is looking pretty shaky this year, which has always sort of been one of their strengths, I think Dak is just a better quarterback. And when both teams aren't that great, I'm pretty happy to go with the player I think's the better quarterback.
Yep.
I think the Philly have more weapons, but as you said, the QB
You got to throw it to
utilize
him.
them. Yeah, can he utilize them?
You got to throw it to him.
Whereas Dak ain't got much to throw to, but he still has one or two D's. Pretty good.
Poor AJ.
I know. Dan, this is we're going to you here, mate. So again, I think this is a pretty close division. It doesn't show it on the odds too much. Like Packers are $1.57, Vikings are $3.30, but to me that should be closer. But most of us, we've all still stuck with the Packers. Why have you gone at the Vikings?
I'm honestly surprised no one else picked the Vikings. I think we're quick to forget that Aaron Rodgers is throwing to bloody Alan Lazard. And not only did the Vikings get Zadarius Smith from the Packers, they have just got a new head coach. JJ is an absolute monster. Dalvin Cook. Thielen is just a red zone beast. They're loaded everywhere. They're going to be one of the sneakiest teams.
Except QB.
Kirk Cousins, look, I can respect that, but if you're just basing it A-Rod versus Kirk Cousins, yeah, obviously A-Rod's a much better QB. It's not even a question. But as a team as a whole, A-Rod's got no one to throw it to. You're going to rely on Romeo Dubes? Sorry, no. I think I'll take. I think the Vikings are a sneaky pick to win this division, and I'm surprised no one else.
I don't mind the pick. My thing is, if you list 6 people, coach included, before you get to the quarterback, that's a no-go to me. I'm sorry. I know.
But I've noticed your picks are just based on quarterbacks, though.
End of the day, who's the most important player? You I reckon you're going to say the groundsman who paints the lines before you're going to go to Kirk.
Kirk doesn't get his props. He's actually just a solid QB. I could say he's as good as Derek Carr. He's just a solid QB. Does what he needs to do, and I just think he'll get them this win.
Can we just touch on QB here? Because if we go to the next one, Tom, if you're basing everything on QB, are you saying Jameis Winston is better than Tom Brady?
He's got something there. He's got
it ready. He's got it ready to go.
Don't jump yet.
But yeah, no, I think
we'll do what we want to.
No, you go for it.
There's not much to say about the Packers, so go for it.
Yeah.
No, so my thing is, okay, I'm talking about QBs. My thing is, I think Tom Brady's probably going to retire halfway through the season. Did anyone see how gaunt he looked? The man was saying that he's going through a computer in his life. I don't think after round 8, when he realizes, actually, what have I come back to? This team's not as good as what they were last year. I'm old. My arm's like breaking down. I don't think he's actually going to be a QB. He'll either get injured or he'll retire halfway through the year. And I think the Saints are pretty good. I reckon, they're a good team. They're always good at home. Going to look healthy this year. I'm more than happy to be backing onto the Saints here, because Brady is going to be gone by round 8.
Okay.
I'm keen to see if that happens, because that's a great clip to pull on the put on the TikTok.
He'll do the Antonio Brown, just runs off during the Jets game.
He'll go meet up with AB. He'll go and see him. That's where he's going. Bucks. Again, I actually wasn't totally. I'm not betting on that really at $1.30. That's pretty short, but the rest of the teams in division stink. Like the Falcons are just not even close, and the Panthers had to resort to Baker Mayfield. So I think it is between two. I think, like you said, the Saints could get it done just by way of the Bucks sort of not imploding, but just really falling off. Like they kind of, since the Super Bowl win, have been on a downward trajectory, really. So
their offensive line's gone backwards a bit. I think they've had a couple of injuries there as well, and with Brady not really being able to move, if that offensive line can't protect him, then he's only an injury away from Tom being right.
Yep.
And the West, this is, again, well, it probably was the number one competitive division for a couple of years until the AFC West just became nuts, but it still is competitive, and we've got 2 picks here between the Rams and the Niners. The Cards are still there at 450 as the third favorite, and the Seahawks are the one that has obviously dropped off, losing Russ. They're going to be terrible, but we've got it between 2 here. So who wants to be the Rams spokesperson? Bex, you want to talk about the actual Super Bowl defending champs?
I think it almost gets forgotten a bit that they did do so well last year. They did win the Super Bowl. They've still got great weapons, solid offensive line. Their defense is stacked. I think the only question mark that I've got on him is just Stafford's elbow. Is that tendonitis an actual problem? Is it going to hurt him through the year? Because if it doesn't, I think they win this division fairly easily, and then have a decent crack at winning the NFC and going to another Super Bowl.
Yeah. If anything, they actually probably upgraded their weapons.
Yeah,
OBJ,
I was going to say, you
Allen
could almost say it's
Robinson
better.
is a big step up from OBJ. Yeah. Like, I love me some OBJ. It's the reason I go for the Giants.
Well,
but
I
just think Allen Robinson is just a huge in. That man was absolutely dominant with Mitch Trubisky throwing it to him. Now Matthew Stafford throwing it to him, he could easily go off again. And that, I just think the Rams are just being a little bit not slept on, but I just think no one thinks they can run it back. But I think they've really got a good chance to do it again. And McVay just a really good coach,
top tier coach,
easily. Yeah.
Bem's been sitting there for a while, mate. Have you got your Niners? I know Tom's nervous, but go for the Niners, mate. What do you see?
I just think there's a couple of things with the Rams that makes me question it as well. It's obviously a hardest thing when you win a championship or a premiership. There's some things that they call in the AFL the premiership hangover. So I just think it's harder to back it up after.
Okay.
I'm not sure if they have the same hunger. I think with San Fran, I think their defense is always solid. I think they've got a lot of players who can break out. Deebo Samuel's a unique player. He can run the ball, can catch the ball. I think Brandon Ayuk, I've heard reports that he's had a breakout. He's been their best trainer. So if he breaks out as well. And then we're talking about the quarterback, Trey Lance. I think if we're talking about upgrades, I think he's an upgrade over Jimmy G. I think Jimmy G's been average for a while. You saw it in things. So I think Trey Lance, the first couple of games might take a while. I think he'll actually turn out to be very good. So I've really got the faith in that. They've got a good run game as well, so they can run and throw it. And they've got defense. They've got the good fundamentals. So I think it will be close. I'm not saying they're going to easily win the division. I think it might have a game into it. I'm just factoring in those things. And then you add on Stafford's thing as well. It's recently come out. I thought a bit of a risk, and I thought I'd go for the 49ers.
A lot of notepads there. That's extensive, Tom.
He's read it word for word. He's read it word for word, I reckon.
There, but my quick thing is, I think it's close between the two, but pretty happy to go with San Fran. I think they're just always a well-coached team. I think, and just Trey coming in, if he can be good, I think that's a huge upgrade for what they can do offensively. I think they're pretty limited with Jimmy, and they still were doing pretty well. So that run game could be pretty scary if all things turn out well.
Yeah, I think the defense is really good too. So I mean, so was the Rams. So it should be interesting. definitely be interesting to see how the Rams go tomorrow, I guess, against the Bills, the home opener. All right, we're going to bit of a hypothetical multi here. We actually might place it and post on some things afterwards. But if everyone had to pick a division bet that they'd like to chuck in the group multi, let's put it in now. So I think for me, I'll start. I know it's boring, but I'm going to go
Bills.
the Colts. I think they win.
Okay.
Nah, not the Bills. That's pretty short. But the Colts, I think, a little bit of. I know Tom's not a fan, but $1.67. I think they just.
You just stole my ability to choose my pick because you're not fair.
Yeah, well, this is four against one, so you might have to pick another one. Scotty, who are you throwing in?
I'm going to go for Green Bay, I think. I just trust Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to go for Green Bay.
Might have stolen Dan's pick as well. Bex, who you got?
I'm going to go with the value. I'm really confident in the Bengals this year. I think even second favourite, you get a bit of value there. I think they win and win going away.
Okay. Dan?
I think I'm going to trust in the process in Jalen Hurts. I think the Eagles win that divvy.
Okay. Yep.
So everyone's gone against every single pick I've made. So I'm going to go with the Saints. So that's the only one that was opposite. I'm going with the Saints. Well, yeah, because what it went. Philly
got the ninth at least. One that actually
left field.
Bengals. The only one was the Packers that Scotty went. That was the same to mine. So I reckon Saints.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't mind the Saints their value. I still think Bucks win, but the Saints are the value there over the Bucks.
Yeah. And quickly, whilst we've got this screen up, we'll go some just over-underlines with the wins. So for me, I've gone the Colts again here. Over 9.5, I think they get to play their division twice a year. So there's a few bankable ones there. They just obviously got to go 10-7. Look, it's not the best value, $1.60 there. So that's my probably favourite over-underline. Tom, who have you got?
I got Jags 6.5. I'm pretty happy to go with the 6.5 there.
Yeah,
I think that's more than achievable. Get to play Texans twice. That's money.
Yep, a little bit over $2 as well. Scotty, who's your pick for the wins?
I'm pretty confident in this one. I think I've got the Titans under 9.5. You look at their team; they've lost AJ Brown, they've lost Julio. They've got Burks has been struggling from all reports as a rookie. You've got Robert Woods, who's their number one receiver, who's 30, coming off multiple injuries, pretty injury prone. Then you've got Tannehill pretty under pressure from Willis as well. I just think, they've still got Derek, who's probably the main thing, but then his thing is, can he stay healthy? So, I'm really just fading the Titans. I think they'll probably get 7 to 8. I just don't see him getting 10 wins this year.
Yep. And Bex?
I agree with that. Yeah, same theme on Bengals overs 9.5. I think.
Yep.
Jesus.
Pretty good.
Every reason you said before. Dan?
Jeez, Benner's going to get the Colts cap, I reckon. I've gone the Commanders under 8.5. I think the Washington Commanders.
What a great name, isn't it?
No.
The Washington Redskins. I just think that team has got nowhere. Honestly, Carson Wentz is not an upgrade from Taylor Heineke. I just don't see that team winning at all. And that division got a lot better. I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants beat them and they finish dead last because that team's been going nowhere. So I think 8.5 is such a huge line. That is an easy under.
Beautiful. All right, we'll get to the Super Bowl and the MVP pick. So MVP. I've gone for Josh Allen. He's obviously the favourite. I've got the odds there on the side. Mahomes is $9, along with Brady, Herbert 10, Rodgers 11, and Joey B. Burrow is 13. Tom and Dan gone for Herb. I think he's a fine pick as well. Scotty's all in on Mahomes, and then Bex is with me with Allen. So look, I think we can all agree these are probably the top 3 or 4. Like these guys are in the top 4 quarterbacks in the league. It just comes down to the team performance, really, doesn't it? At the end of the day, who goes the best. I think that's why I went Allen, because he's got an easy division to get a better record. That was my idea.
Paddy and Herb are just going to cannibalize each other in that division, and I don't think either of them are going to get that sort of 13, 14 win season that they probably need to be MVP and stand out, whereas Alan can.
Yep. Any boys want to talk up your boy?
No, I reckon we've spoken enough about each of them enough so far that I think everyone sort of gets the point for each of them.
And the Super Bowl picks, I think I said it earlier, I'm sticking with the Broncos, a bit of an outsider, $17. So obviously, I tip them to win the division. I obviously hope they do, so they have the best chance of going through and winning the Super Bowl. The Ravens, Tom, I think you had the same thing, win their division, hopefully, and then that gives them the best chance to pull through in the AFC. And then the rest of the boys have gone the absolute cake in the Bills. So, yeah.
Cake for a reason,
mate. I like cake.
Yeah. Okay. Right, boys, let's get to the good stuff. The week 1 picks. So I've got all the lines up there, the favourites in the pink. Obviously, team on the left is at the team on the right as far as home and away. When you put all this out on the screen, it's actually just stupid how many teams are in this league. I know the American sports, there's always 30, 32 in the NFL. It's so many games every week.
Yep.
And being at the times they are for us, it is obviously hard to keep track. But the Bills obviously kick off. I've actually got that the wrong way around, as I just literally said that the Rams are at home, but I think the rest of them are pretty much right. Pretty crazy. Like the Bills been 2.5 point favourites at home. I know the Sportsbet just gave me the boosted odds for the Rams head-to-head 250, and I put 100 on it. Like, as we said before, disrespect to them. Like, they've just won the Super Bowl. I know the Bills are the favourites for like the whole thing, but I think that price and that that points line for the Rams looks pretty good. Anyone else taking that this week?
Yeah, I'm already on it. I think that's just too much value because it's such a 50-50 game, and if you're getting $2.53 for the Super Bowl champions at home, I think that's just an easy sort of bet. If you've got it.
But no,
Tom, any other matchups stand out of here or like lines?
No, I like the Rams. I like the Rams with the points. I think any home underdog early in the season is always good to take the points. I reckon Niners -6.5 against the Bears is absolute money. Bears are going to be absolutely atrocious. So I know that I've sort of gone away about what I was saying about home underdogs, but I don't care. The Bears are in a different category. So I reckon the Niners are great there. So they're probably two. And I don't mind the Cards getting the points at home against the Chiefs. I reckon that could be pretty high scoring. I'm curious to see what the Chiefs' offense is like with all the changes. So I reckon getting the points with the Cards is also a good pick. Yep.
I'm going to executively here make a decision and throw in one of our segments now because it probably should have been higher anyway. So here comes Scotty.
Presented by no one.
We're just talking about the home underdog, Scotty. Give it to us, mate.
Yeah. So other things as Tom touched on. The stat for this week, which I was looking at, that really stood out for me, was that we've got for this week 10 teams that are at home that are the underdog. So we're talking about value. I know Dan likes his value. That gives us a lot of value. So we're talking about if you think there's a team that you think can get going early and usually getting into the crowded game, it gives you a lot of value. So we talk about ones. I know I've got one of my picks. I think I've got the Texans as well. And there's a few other ones throughout the game. So I think it's what the stat was there is 10, which is the highest since 1978. So if you want some value for week 1, and we know that week 1's it's really hard to pick a winner. So you might be favouring a few teams at home if they can get a good start. I think that's a lot of things that can help you when you're betting as well. So I think getting on a few home underdogs this week is the play.
Yep.
What's everyone think about that stat?
I can definitely get around that. I think.
What was the stat? I don't know what the stat was. I just know something at home underdogs in.
Fumbling.
10 underdog favourites this week, which is the most since 1978.
That's it. There we go. Okay, that's a good. That's a good stat.
I just think in any sport, week 1s are just anything can go. So you can definitely find some value. Definitely, 100%. Find value in anything. We see it in AFL all the time. So yeah, 100%. I agree with that stat, Scotty.
Beautiful. Well, let's get to our picks. So the first pick from everyone. We can go. So just set the ground rules. I know it actually took a bit to get through to put a few of these boys' head. Scotty was putting them through. Bex had a head-to-head, paying $1.30, and Dan actually had one still with about 2 minutes till we actually started recording. So over/under lines or the actual spread. So no, like I'm going to bet head-to-head here on the dog. Like yes, if you want, that's a good pick, but go with the points, and then just say I also like the head-to-head if you don't want to be as or if you want more value. So my pick, I've gone Raiders Chargers over 52.5. I know it's a big point line, but I think it is for a reason. I think the Raiders defense isn't too great. I think Mike Williams is going to be matched up on some absolute bum, and he can go nuts. So I'll be betting him this week. And I just think both offenses will be really good. You know, the Raiders getting Devontae Adams across. So as long as the Raiders, I think, can stay in it, I think the Chargers will score points, no problem. I like that to go over. Tom, I think you talked about this pick just before.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Cards plus 5.5 at home. Dan?
Yeah. I think Vikings, like I said, I was on it for the division. I don't think A-Rod's number one is even played. I don't think Alan Lazard's even cleared to play. So I think the Vikings are value. They always play tough these two games. So I think the Vikings are the play for sure. I'd take them head-to-head even. So yeah, I think Vikings are easy shout for me.
Scotty?
I'm going to take the Jags +2. I even like it.
No, mate.
Look on the screen.
Look up.
Use your eyes.
That's your big lock. I'll put that at the end. Cause
skip Bex. Bex, what's yours? Just skip Bex. No one wants to listen.
So we've heard all off season that the Pats' new offense system, they don't even have an offensive coordinator. It's an absolute shit show. So I think their offense sucks. The Dolphins' defense is pretty good, and then Bill Belichick and his defense is always pretty good. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is 2 touchdowns each sort of game.
Pick number 2, I've gone the Giants plus 5.5. So yeah, a bit of a homer pick. You can call it that, but like we've been talking down the Titans already a lot. I think you get the points at home. I think they can keep it close, low scoring game. I just think giving the points for them is good enough for me to pick them. You two boys picked the Rams. We spoke about that before, so we can move on and go to Scotty. Why the hell he's picking the Houston Texans in any sort of bet.
Boys. I've got a few stats for you.
You had the segment before, mate.
All right, on to bed.
Relating to that one, home underdog Texans. There we go. Yeah. So it's got 2 things. So division underdogs in week 1, 63% against the spread. So that's a positive thing there. Another thing is Colts are no good in week 1. They're the worst team since 2005 in week 1. I think they've had 4 covering the spread. The spread.
Sorry?
What?
No.
Their coach is 0-4 week 1. So I just think go the dog at home. I think Texans, it's a massive line. It's the biggest line of this week. Sure, they're not going to be great, but the Colts that much better. I don't know. I think Tom was talking about Matty Ryan. How much does it make it better? I'm not too sure. So I'm happy to take the Texans. Maybe they'll come out firing for the first opener. They might be trailing off towards the end of the season when they're not so good. They've got the home crowd there. They make a good start. Who knows what happens? So I'm just happy to take the numbers, and I'm going to ride with the stat. We'll see how we go.
Real numbers, you are.
He's always about the stats.
What are the numbers? Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Bucs start a little bit slow. Brady missed a lot of preseason on personal leave. Godwin, in theory, is playing, but he's going to be underdone. Lost some offensive line. So I think the Cowboys at home can hold on in prime time.
Cowboys on the sped? Yeah.
At the sped.
All right, the big lock. So we're going to keep the records 0-3 every week, but the big locks will also keep as a separate one as well. This has got to be your absolute best bet for the week. I've gone the Broncos. I don't want to double up on these each week either, the big locks. We can double up on the others, but the big lock, we've got to pick a different one. Will be another rule. I'll just put out there now. So I like Tom's, but I'm going to go with the Broncos as well. I think the Seahawks are just terrible. Geno Smith, I'll give him some credit. He's not that bad, but I still think the Broncos coming in and Russell have something to prove.
He's better than Drew Lock apparently.
Yes,
Okay.
which is very, very tough to beat out Drew Lock in the
agree.
QB room. So I just think Russell have something to prove, and they win by more than a touchdown. Tom,
I can't see it.
49ers
6.5.
minus
Okay.
6.5. Which I
This
think
is probably one of the best spreads of the whole week. Can someone tell me who the Chicago Bears' number one wide receiver is?
Darnell
Mooney.
Darnell Mooney. So enough said. I'd be taking a loan and going alt spread minus 21.5 for the Niners. This is going to be an absolute beatdown, bloodbath. Take it to the bank. Put as much as you can on the Niners against the spread. And stuff Scotty's stat about the home dogs and stuff. I don't care about the Bears. This is an absolute lock of the week. Thank me next week.
After Mooney, can anyone name a second Chicago Bear wide receiver at the moment?
Yeah, Ackerman
Equinemius.
Brown.
Yeah, Siren Pringle and Eckerman St. Brown.
Brian,
the
like, are you kidding me? Like, come on, this is
Hulk
it's going to start at
really,
minus
to be the
eight
second.
and a half come game time.
I love
like
Fields,
that.
but they're setting him up to fail.
He's
No,
doomed.
big time.
I think that's way too low as well, that line. So I agree. Dan, the Saints.
Yep. I think this is, like Tom, I think this could be a bloodbath too. Too many new pieces. I think Mariota coming in. Their defensive line as well is just rubbish. I think, hopefully for my fantasy team, Alvin Kamara scores 5 touchdowns like he did before. So this could be an easy. This is I'll take a loan out with Tom. I'll take a joint loan out with Tom. This is an absolute load up job. 100% the Saints. Yeah.
Scotty, another
Heroes.
dog. Look at his absolute the whole column is just home dogs. So don't go through your stats again, but just go through the pick.
I just think, simply, I think we talk about the better quarterback. We've talked about it before. I think Trevor Lawrence is a much better quarterback than Wentz. I also think off-season, Washington hasn't been great. I've been hearing reports Wentz hasn't been doing so great. Gibson seems like he's dropped off a bit. Then you talk about on the other side with the Jags, they've got back Etienne, who's actually seems like he's going really well. They've got in some new wide receivers as well. So I'm just positive on the Jags. I know they weren't really great on the road last year, but I'm feeling good about them.
Yep.
Fair enough.
We'll get around that.
Bex
Agreed.
finishes off.
I've talked about the Bengals ad nauseum. They'll do
That's
well.
fair. That's totally fair. All right, and then we've got Danny D's past TDs. So Dan's going to do this multi every week until it fails, which would probably be 1 week. So probably won't see this next week. But what have you got for us this week, mate?
No faith, O'Brien. No faith. Most of the time when I bet NFL, this is my market. I just love to load up on these ones. I think I like QBs who just throw a lot. So you'll see the Joe Burrows in here. You see the Herberts heaps, Mahomes. But I think Jameis at Atlanta is value at $1.90. He flung it for 40-odd touchdowns not that long ago. He did throw like 40 picks, but he still threw it. Patty should I even explain it, and even Herbert as well. They're just absolute gunslingers. Brady, look, going up against the Cowboys, I think Diggs is the most overrated corner ever. So I think Mike Evans and Julio could grab a couple. And I don't trust Tom feeding Lenny KFC Fournette anytime soon. So I think they'll throw. And I think at $6.59, pretty good multi to put them together. $50 on that. So $330. Good way to start your NFL week. And then we'll see how these boys go.
Beautiful. Yep. Usually, we do this on Thursday, so the sports bet lines, they don't have them out.
Yeah, this is Neds.
So this is on, Bloods and Neds.
So this is on Neds, which is probably a better market, to be honest. You just get 2. Sometimes Paddy, you don't get alt lines. His will be set at like 3.5, and so will
you're
Herbert.
right.
So
more option.
probably a bit better, more option on Neds or Lads. So jump on one of those if you want these odds.
All right, Tom. For this next one, this is the anytime TD market bets. You've got some explaining to do. I'm with Jalen Hurts. I think that's a really nice one against the Lions. I think he starts well. Who is that in that photo? I actually couldn't really find many of him.
That's Dale Robinson, man.
I like how you've got the actual height correct, where his height is the same as everyone else's half.
quick question to you boys who are Giants. What's the depth chart like? Okay, who's your number one wide
Like on the whole team, terrible. But
Probably
wide
Kenny or
receiver.
Sterling. Yeah.
So
not
yeah,
great.
exactly. Scrub. This man here, he is an absolute pocket rocket. All the reports from training camp are that by at some point in the year he's going to be wide receiver 1. Now, what I'm thinking is we jump onto the value now of 460, and you won't see 460 for the rest of the year. He'll be around about a $3, $2 bet each week. I think it's a perfect chance to get some real value here. I think the market's sleeping on this man, and I reckon it's one of the better bets of the week.
It should be $6.
It's Wandale Robinson.
Okay.
Just to get that across to the viewers, yeah.
Yeah, but they won't know looking at him.
Calvin Kamara, Dan spoke about him enough.
That's
his
an
man.
easy one.
Easy matchup against the
Yep.
Falcons.
Boring.
Yeah.
Scotty,
$1.80.
who's that?
I've gone the Adam Thielen this week, so I'm feeling it a bit. So a stat I've got for him, because I love my stats, as you know. Since Kirk Cousins came in 2018, from weeks 1 to 4, so 16 games, he has scored 12 TDs. So he loves to start the early start. And we talk about the last couple of years. I think he's scored 2 in the first game weeks, and there was 1 against the Green Bay Packers as well. Last 2 times he played him, he scored 1 touchdown, 2 touchdown. All reports as well is he's looking back to his former self. I think only 4 games last year he didn't score a touchdown, so he's very touchdown heavy. He doesn't get as many yards as Jefferson, but they find him in the red zone. So I'm pretty confident that he'll go pretty well.
Yep.
I'm keen on that as well.
I like
Big red zone target.
You've sold me. Bex?
Yeah, a bit of a risk, bit of value, I think. Similar to Hurts in that they just like to he ran so much last year in the few games that he started. I think with a full off season they'll be able to get some designed runs for him in the red zone, and just it's so hard to stop QBs that can move like that, if he only needs a few yards. So at $1 more than Hurts, I think he's good value for a similar player.
Beautiful. Yep, I don't mind it either. All right, it's been a long one, boys. Just ticked over an hour, but I think we saved the best till last, don't we? So
here we go.
Tom's tips.
Excellent, Benno. Okay, a little bit of a change of pace here. Now, in terms of what we're going to do each week is going to be provide the viewers with some horse racing tips, because even though we're no pun intended, that doesn't just mean it's only NFL. So for anyone who is inclined to horse racing, or if not, I hope you get addicted. Essentially, what I'm going to do is I'm going to recommend 2 bets for the weekend, and then I'm going to give a multi out as well. So for the first bet, we're going to go into race number 5 at Flemington, Western Empire, currently paying, I believe, $6.50 on SportsBet. It's the best horse in the race. It's looking to get into the Cox Plate. Its first up run, even though it didn't look as good, actually wasn't too bad. It's going to be better for the run. Its win 3 starts will go back in Western Australia was absolutely dynamic. So definitely get on there. And the price they're giving you $6.50 is because that first up run wasn't that good. Next best is another Western Australian horse that's come over, Stage Man, which is in race 8. I think the form coming out for this horse as well. It loves 1400 meters. It's really good second up as well. It's paying $9, so definitely look to get on Stage Man there. In terms of the multi, I don't know if we have the graphic here because I'm going to have to explain it, but essentially you're going to go Western Empire into Stage Man, so Flemington Race 5 and Flemington Race 8. So the 2 bets we were saying to bet on as well, and combine those then with In Secret for the Run to the Rose, Race 7 at Rose Hill, and then Mr. Mozart in Race 8 straight after. If you multi all those together, we call this one our mortgage buster. That's going to, if you throw responsibly, it comes to $1,000 odds. So you can throw $1 or $100. I don't really care, and you can load up there. So each week we're going to see how we go. This segment may not be here next week, dependent if I go 0 for 4, but hopefully we can get it up for the boys.
I've got
there it is.
On the fly, boys.
Looking good.
That is exactly it. So load up on that, and really all you need is one. Right? Like that's all you need.
All you need is one. Yep. Okay, we'll stop there. that's been a good one, boys. That's the first episode of the No Pun Intended. Let us know what you think of the name. Let us know what you think of the segments. Look, we're obviously on the fly here, first go, but we'll improve week by week. Actually took me a while to get a lot of this ready, so thanks to the boys for putting in on the planning. It's been a bit of fun, and I'm actually keen to see how we come back next week with the records. Right under our heads, right here. I'll have how we went, all the tips that
I'm
lost.
looking at you, mate. If you go 0-7, mate, you are an absolute disgrace. After
you might only see 4 cameras here next week, but anything else to add, boys?
Nah, thanks for hosting, O'Brien.
No,
Yep.
No
just gamble irresponsibly.
I'll be setting up a TikTok soon as well. So obviously the tips and stuff will be there if we miss it here. Just a quick short video there, and we'll get that running as well.
That's all you, De Silva. That's all you.
No worries, mate. No worries.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys.
Good boys.
We'll catch you after week 2.